the top person you can and ask.
Mhm. Oh.
And it's kind of been a secret of mine. And found myself at the best radio station, and certainly at that time, in St. Louis News Talk.
Mhm.
And from there,
Mhm.
ended up in television. And then when the family changed, I couldn't travel. So I did a couple of different things, ended up in sales. There's always good opportunity for people like us in sales that progressed into land development and those things.
Oh yeah.
Housing market crashed.
She had a real business head.
There you go. And so, but I was on the property acquisition, the big project, the redevelopment projects.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like to do, and making things happen, creating something from nothing. So Frenchtown redevelopment, you can Google that. That was pretty swell.
Oh yeah.
But when housing crashed, I made the progression into nonprofit.
Oh yeah.
And that's where now my children are growing and they're gone, and there is a baseline here that ties it all together.
Uh-huh.
And in nonprofit development, getting the money, feeling the mission
Mm-hmm.
in your heart,
Right.
because if you can't tell the story, other people won't feel it. And
Well,
you have to mean it. There has to be conviction.
Well, how did you segue? How did you segue, Kim?
and-
I mean, you went from doing business deals, big business deals, to doing nonprofit. Was there, I mean, a specific calling on your life or something, or how did that happen?
You reach a certain age and you live in the same place for a long time. You have a network, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was the housing market was crashing, so this redevelopment project in Frenchtown didn't have legs. We knew that. And I started looking, and it was actually a developer, Mike Zellenshooter, in the St. Louis area that had approached me. He was on the board of a nonprofit,
Mm-hmm.
and he had suggested to me that even if I would just do it temporarily, they needed help. It was adults with developmental disabilities, so,
Huh.
mental retardation,
Mm-hmm.
that. And he asked if I would be interested, and I met with them. And I don't know that I intended to stay there, but I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And the calling happened while I was there, in development, raising money, and connecting with the mission. To this day, adults with developmental disabilities, it touches my heart, and it means a lot to me. So that's how I got into it.
Oh, okay.
And been doing that. I'm entrepreneurial, so helping organizations get started or reinvent themselves, grow their base in this changing economy. It's tough because nobody knows what's happening with their taxes, and
Right.
of course it's been tough.
Yeah, everybody's scared to death.
Charitable actions. People don't have the money that they had to give. So, and then government, like there's an agency I was working with, Community Link, just on the other side of the river here in Illinois. They've always been very dependent on their money from the state, which
Right.
is actually coming to their clients, but through them they provide the services. Illinois is a mess, and they're broke, and they don't pay on time, and they are
Yeah.
cutting benefits.
Yeah, right.
And so these agencies that have been around for 40 years, their funding model has to change.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very exciting to me, and calls upon my strengths. And then I got involved with Herman Cain as a lark.
How long ago
Not
was
a
that?
lark, that
What year are we talking about here?
makes it. I was a latecomer. I didn't get involved with Herman Cain until the debate started, and I liked Rick Perry. I'm a conservative.
So did
He's
I.
cute, I didn't have anything else to base it on.
Mm-hmm.
But then he aggravated me with that comment. I'm sure he didn't mean it the way it sounded.
Did you say you liked him because he was cute?
And I started.
Did you?
Well, yeah, when starters.
Okay, just checking. Okay, just
Is
checking.
that bad?
Okay, no, I'm just checking.
wrong?
Just want to make sure my ears heard right. Go ahead, carry
I
on.
would. Yeah, it's the truth. You want me to be truthful? I could
Absolutely,
lie.
yeah, okay. All right. Cuteness factor. All right, there you go.
No, I would cast a vote on cuteness.
Yeah, all
I
right.
wouldn't cast a vote on cuteness,
Yeah.
except for maybe city council. But for president, I would never cast a vote on cuteness. But it's a start. And
Gotcha.
then I fell out of, I kicked him off my politician crush list immediately.
Okay.
I started learning more about Mr. Kane,
Mm-hmm.
and anybody that's involved in grassroots, they know how this happens.
Right.
Leaders rise to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And you look around and you're like, well, okay, if nobody else is doing it, I'll do this.
Uh-huh.
And before I knew it, I was the state leader for Herman Cain.
Oh, okay.
And it changed, and that, more than anything else, has changed me, or anything that I can recall,
Okay.
has changed me.
Mm-hmm.
That experience and everything that came from it.
Right.
For instance, you don't know this, but I'm an honorary black conservative.
Okay.
C.L. Bryant said so.
So when this whole nonsense scandal happened with Herman Cain, and by the way, the women that accused him of all this stuff, they all went away as soon as he dropped out. A lot of people forget that. They're like they act as though, oh yeah, they had something on. But as soon as he said, all right, I'm dropping out of the race because of all this nonsense, then they like, okay, well, we're going to leave him alone now.
You know, Mark, can I add something of Kim? Is that possible right here?
Yeah, sure.
She just alluded to a very important man who I hold near and dear to my heart, Mr. Bryant, who took a very bold step in the last week, who was quoted on the cover of the New York Post, the newspaper within the last 2 weeks, who made a public statement regarding what he thought was unfair, racial, divisive, stirring upness regarding what happened in Florida. And if this person has singled you out, Kim, he's an amazing man. He's a former, leader of the NAACP, or the ALCU. I would like you to take a moment to explain to listeners exactly who Mr. Bryant is, because he is a heavy hitter. And I believe he is an amazingly positive and brilliant force in politics on a day. Right now, we need him. And you just name dropped, and I don't think anybody heard that. And I want you to really highlight that man, if you would.
Thank you for that opportunity.
I mean, that's not a name drop. If you know him, oh my God, I am listening. I'm taking notes.
Got him on speed dial, girl.
No, you have a duty right now to tell everybody who's listening who this man is. He is my hero. I took 10 copies of the front cover of that paper and mailed it to my local newspaper, and I said, please reprint this in the what's really important and happened in history today. Please take this away. Please do something with this. I beg you.
Thank you.
And there's
so
a lot of people say, I read, I stay quiet, but let me tell you, I come from a place, I live in New Jersey, New York. I come from the melting pot. There is no color where I come from, where I went to school. We're all one. And Mr. Bryant is I love this man. So please expand upon his influence right now. And if he's on speed dial, I'm going to steal your phone.
No, he's a wonderful man, and I learned from him, and I'm a follower. If you all go to rallyforcommonsense.org, one word, rallyforcommonsense.org, under the featuring, Pastor Bryant will be at Rally for Common Sense, along with Herman Cain and Alan Keyes, Dr. Gina Loud, and some others. But if you click on Pastor Bryant's photo, that will take you to more information. He has a documentary out, and it opens nationwide. It's in selected markets now. It opens nationwide in June, called The Runaway Slave. And you're right, he is a former NAACP chapter leader, and he calls himself the runaway slave. And I do my impression of Pastor Bryant, and if you watch the movie trailer, which you can find, rallyforcommonsense.org, behind his picture, the runaway slave movie trailer is there, and he's like, tell me why you're great, America. Because, I learned about Pastor Bryant through Mr. Cain, and Mr. Cain is in that documentary too. The first time that Mr. Cain told blacks to get off the Democrat plantation, I was like, you can't say that. You cannot say that. Oh my gosh, we're mincemeat.
Well, you can if you're him. And he could say something about the events which happened down in Florida last week, which I believe deserve a little notoriety right now. He made a public statement.
He comes out and he calls them right. He called them on it. He calls them.
He
calls them as racist slurs.
What he said today, what he said last week on the cover of the New York newspapers, was, what is wrong with you? And he personally called out 2 black leaders in America. He called out Al Sharpton. He called out Jesse Jackson. He said, what are you doing inciting racial division? Why are you doing this?
Right.
And I don't think there is an American alive who had the guts to say that 2 weeks ago when that young man had this problem. And that's all I'm saying.
Mr. Kane does.
Yeah. Well, one of the problems that we have is simply that because of the fact that the left has a history of trumping up the race card, is that if you're anything but black and you say anything that sounds as though you're talking against black people, you automatically are a racist, and therefore you are disqualified from entering into the discussion of ideas, which is an abomination in my opinion. Martin Luther King said it best. He said, "I look forward to a day when my children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." But I don't hear any of that coming out of the left, that's for sure. But
not now.
Yeah.
Not now.
Look,
right.
If you Google even the Runaway Slave movie trailer, or Runaway Slave movie trailer, I think that provides a perfect synopsis of who he is. And, there are others in this fight like that. Star Parker will say it. Dr. Elveda King is in that crowd. I mean, this is a cool crowd. So I don't know if Pastor Bryant was teasing that I'm an honorary black conservative, but I'm taking it. And the joke is, if they can say that Herman Cain is black on the outside and white on the inside, well, then I'm white on the outside and black on the inside. So take that.
Nice.
So bring it on.
Nice.
You can see.
Bring it.
You can see information about the movie at runawayslavemovie.com.
Excellent. Thank you, Steve. See, that's why he's my
Very
MOA.
well.
Yeah, this guy's always all over everything. And we're coming up on a hard break now, Kim, so if you can hang in there with it for just a few more minutes, we're going to come back. We're going to talk to a couple of people. One of my old usual suspects has joined us this evening, and that's none other than my voiceover guy, Thomas Vaughn. How you doing tonight, Thomas?
All right, how's it going?
It's going good, buddy. I'm glad you could make it to the show.
Yes, it's brief, but I will be here for just a little bit.
Well, I'm glad you can make it at all. It's always a pleasure to have you on board. And for those of you who do need a voiceover talent, you want to go to tvproductions.us. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, tvproductions.us. That's correct.
That's right. And you'll have the #1 premier voiceover guy in the United States of America and the free world, for that matter. Daniel, you have an announcement for everybody.
Yes, I have. I have a very, very big thank you to somebody who made the radio station last night absolutely international.
Oh, really? And who's that?
Yes. I'll tell you a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, do that, Daniel.
Somebody was just said to me the other day, from my new apartment, I can see the UK. Well, somebody told her that no, it couldn't be. It's just a speck on your telescope. Well, actually, what happened is that the .com got registered. Now she can see the UK. But a very, very special thank you to Lee Summers, who bought the domains.
Oh, wasn't that nice? Well, thanks, Lee.
I could do nothing less for a wonderful station that promoted my vision, my nightmare, my childhood books. So my dad, it's all for you. Thank you. It was a small way I could say thank you.
Way to go. Outstanding. And, of course, for those of you...
You guys rock. You guys rock.
You hear that? We rock. So,
and of course, we've also got the .net.org and the .org.uk. We've got all the domains now for North Star-Radio.
Excellent.
Very good.
For how many years, Daniel?
2 years, and then they need renewing.
Exactly. Yeah. And Daniel will not...
I guess you're gonna inbox me in 2 years.
Exactly. Yeah. And
no, Lee, I've still got your credit card details. Don't worry.
Yeah. And just as a reminder to everybody, you do listen to North Star Radio by way of the fact that Daniel does this as a, well, how would you describe it, Steve? It's a labor of love, isn't it?
Labor of love. That's exactly what it is.
And if people want to be of support, how can they do that, Steve?
Well, if they're listening right now, then they have logged on through North Star Radio's website. And there on that first page, there is a donate button. If you click that button, then you will be able instantly and immediately to make a donation to North Star Radio.